I would describe this as basically the Truman Show, where in jury duty, serving jury duty. So
right.
The backdrop of the whole show for 3 or 4 weeks is all of these characters having to serve on this jury for this case. There's me playing playing a version of myself, a very heightened version, like a Hollywood entitled version of myself. And then a complete cast of characters playing all these different kind of characters, and one guy who doesn't know that the whole thing is fake. So, right. So over the course of 4 weeks, we're serving jury duty in an abandoned courthouse that he thinks is a fully operational courthouse. We have background players walking around, and this jury that gets selected is very carefully planned. And I wouldn't say unscripted. I mean, it's basically, there's no dialogue that's scripted, but there's circumstances that are scripted that we push these beats along the way and create a hero's journey for this guy. It's not a prank show. We're not pranking him. We're not trying to humiliate him.
Right.
Get him to, unify this ragtag group of weirdos by the end and get to the finish line with him. And it worked. Miraculously. Right. So there are several hidden cameras, but there are some cameras that he could see. And that was a documentary film crew, quote unquote, that was making supposedly just a really low budget, boring documentary for like public broadcast TV on what it's like to serve jury duty. And it just so happened to be on jury duty with a celebrity or whatever, James Marsden. Who knows if he's going to recognize him? Who knows if he's going to know what his work is? I don't know. I mean, I wasn't a part of the selection process of finding him, but I know they were very careful about what kind of personality they wanted for this thing. And but he's there thinking that he's been called to jury duty, and there's a documentary film crew following them around. Yeah, there were moments that got close. He's really switched on and very bright kid. He's in his 30s. And then when he would start to say things like, there's so much crazy stuff keeps happening. This feels like a reality show. And then when we heard that, Jake Szymanski, the director, the next day, because every day we would meet for an hour before Ronald came in.
Right.
And literally meet for an hour. Here's what worked yesterday. Here's what we're going to push today. Okay, cool. Clap, huddle up, get it done, and good luck, everybody. And then we'd leave the courtroom and then come back and hide around the corner of the block, come back in and arrive at court. And that moment when he started to get suspicious, the director said, okay, today, pull everything back. Don't push any of the comedy beats. Boring day in court. 6 hours of just droning lawyers talking court speak. Because we're spent so much time like in the deliberation room, it was harder to break away while you were in court, because some of these other actors on the show, and by design, they selected really gifted improv actors who hadn't done much work in their careers. They couldn't be recognizable, right? Because if this guy recognized somebody from their work, they'd be like, well, you're an actor. What are you doing here on jury duty? Yeah. It was it was tough. There were moments where you're definitely pinching your leg and just trying not to laugh. But I knew, and we all knew, that if we screwed up, like that's 2 weeks of footage that just goes down the drain. Like, you got to get it to the finish line. And I think because it was such a high wire act and so scary, like, how do we, and everything was one take. Right, you're not doing several. Can't redo stuff. You can't redo anything, and you hope that along the way, through that journey, that you find that the beats, that the scripted moments, all somehow work. Oh yeah, well, it's that was the other thing. It was like even if he wasn't a part of it, our hero, me being able to go in and make fun of myself, to be able to go make fun of entitled actors, to satirize the industry and how important we think it is sometimes. It's like how serious people take it. It's like, come on, yes, I take my work seriously, but it sure is fun to send it up and do so under the guise of, you're serving jury duty for 3 weeks, which everyone, of course, especially actors, try to get out of, right? It's like, I'm not. I have more important things to do. I have to be on a movie set. Like that's somehow more important. I served jury duty one time, and when I walked in, it was in Los Angeles, in Hollywood, and I walked into the courtroom, and there was a wall of headshots of actors that had served jury duty there.
They were ready.
In a government building. It was like, of course, it's such a Hollywood thing. And the opening arguments from one of the lawyers, in the middle of his opening argument, he turned to me in my juror seat and said, "I love everything you've done." And I was looking at the judge like, am I going to be a distraction here? You should probably let me go home. But no, I stayed. I was selected. I don't know how the producers found these people, because they all had to come from real background, law background, right? They were both of the attorneys were attorneys in real life who actually also are actors who got into acting, and they used to be attorneys and now they're trying out acting and gotten into improv classes. And the judge who anchors the whole thing in such believability, this cranky old judge, is Ike Barinholtz's father.
Oh, perfect.
And who's now like moved to LA to pursue an acting career. It's like he was a prosecutor his whole life. And so they can sit there and speak court jargon, and Ronald's going to believe it. It was bittersweet, because you never want something like that to come to an end, the way that everything that Christina was going through, obviously. But, one of the greatest experiences of my career, and some of the best people I've ever worked for. And Liz Feldman's just a genius. And I know that word gets thrown around too casually these days, but she really is. And to be able to perform her dialogue and play these two separate characters that are twin brothers, just like a wild experience for me. But it's always hard to say goodbye to those characters in a show that, not every show reaches that kind of level of success, or the audience has, such a fan base. And, but like, I've forged really great friendships through it, and obviously very close with Christina and Linda and Liz, and obviously will remain so. So it was tough. It's always not fun to say goodbye, but, I'm very proud of what we created.
Would you be up for it?
27 children. I'd be down for that. I mean, that was such a great experience, and that movie weirdly has legs that I'm not sure I anticipated it having. I'm meeting just a fan base that people, when you talk about romantic comedies, you don't really see too many of those made nowadays.
Right.
And I think that people are starting to have an appetite for it again. Bring it on.